Stand saying 276. This might be a new one also. Be of good cheer. When they came to Jesus, they besought him instantly, saying that he was worthy for whom he should do this. But he loveth our nation, and he hath built us a synagogue. Then Jesus went with them, and when he was now not far from the house, the centurion sent friends to him, saying unto him, Lord, trouble not thyself, for I am not worthy that thou shouldest enter under my roof. Wherefore neither thought I myself worthy to come unto thee. But say in a word, and my servant shall be healed. And we'll stop there for just a moment, pick back up in just a minute. This man was a man of authority, and he had servants under him. He had a special servant that apparently was very close to his master, and he very much concerned about this servant who was ill. He sent for Jesus to come and to restore his health unto him. And so he sent word to Jesus, that I'm not worthy that you'd enter my dwelling or my home, and neither am I worthy that I should come to you. And this was a man of authority making this statement. And even though someone might have the position of headship in any given situation, that they certainly have someone who can be head of them. In verse 8, for I also am a man set under authority, having under me soldiers, and I say unto one, go, and he goeth, to another, come, and he cometh. My servant, do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him, and turned him about, and said unto the people that followed him, I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And they that were sent, returning to the house, found the servant whole, that had been sick. And so Jesus did not even need to enter in that home to restore the servant. He could just speak the word, and the servant would be healed. Certainly that this is a great example to us of two different items. One, headship, and those in positions of authority recognizing that there's also those who are in authority over them, and then also recognizing the greatness of Christ and his ability to restore help to those who are in poor health. Tonight we want to look at the head, and we want to look at the heart. And the heart is not just that physical organ that's pumping in our chest. The heart is also described in the Bible as an inward man. And certainly that the Bible describes the heart as being desperately wicked. And in other words, it couldn't get any more wicked than being desperately wicked. The head must care for the body. This was typified in the scriptures that we just read concerning the master and his servant who was sick. And he was responsible for this man. And those who are in positions of authority as the head, they're responsible for those under them to see that they are cared for. And the head, and I like for us, for this particular study, to think as the Bible teaches, as the man being the head has single focus. And most men are, as we've heard so many times, they want just the facts. They want their fixers. They want to fix the problem. You know, and this is no slam on the ladies, but it just illustrates the difference between men and women. God made us different, and I'm glad he did. But just to use an illustration, you ladies, if you have an appliance that conked out on you, and you call a repairman to come and check it out, you probably give him a running account of all things that happened that day, that the freezer or whatever it was went out. And what you were doing when it went out, and he said, well, all I need to know, what is it doing? And, he doesn't care to know about all the things that might be involved in your family. He wants to know what's wrong with the appliance he's working on. And, but most women, they'll, again, it's no slam on the women, it just typifies the differences between men and women. And the women will tell you how they felt about the appliance going out. The men just say, fix it. Sometimes we're too much of a fixer and we try to tell the professional fixer how to fix it. Because we are in the business of trying to fix things. So as the head cares for the body, let's look at the heart for just a moment. As I said, we want, as men, we want the basic facts about any given situation. You ladies, for the most part, unless you're an exception to the rule, you want all available information about any given situation. And then, not only that, but how do you feel about it? The heart has 4 focuses, or you could call them steps. It's thoughts, emotions, the will, and what the Lord wants. And going back to the head for just a moment, responsibility of the head is a primary focus. Authority, when properly understood, will bring about a harmonious relationship. And we've probably all seen good cartoons and comic strips and so on about cavemen, and they go grab the woman by the hair of the head and pull her out of the cave and get her to do what they want her to do. If she doesn't do it, he bongs her with that big old club that he has in his hand. And that's not really headship. That's abuse. It's plain out and out abuse. And there's a lot of abuse that's going on today in our world and in our land. And it's not just a one-way street. I hear of abuse of wives, but I also hear about abuse of husbands. I hear about abuse of children. And so abuse can come from any direction. When it comes to our attitude, the head is the one who is responsible in a Christian relationship, is responsible to God for his actions. And in that particular relationship, that one day he'll give an account from the Lord. The problem in many homes in America today is that headship is not properly applied. It's either overdone or completely underdone. You know, you think about toast. You can smear a little butter on it, stick it in the toaster oven, let it heat for 2 or 3 seconds, and take it back out. It's not really toast, is it? Just because it's been in the toaster oven. It didn't even have time to get warm. But then you can also place it in there and burn it up. But there's a happy medium somewhere along the way. Even so, in marital relationships, has to be a happy medium somewhere along the way. The heart has not only 4 steps, compartments, as far as the emotional makeup of the heart is concerned, but the physical heart has 4 chambers. The upper chambers and the lower chambers, and the upper chambers and the left atrium and the right atrium, and the lower chambers, the left ventricle, the right ventricle. And each one of these divisions of the heart serves a function and a purpose. If one of these gets out of sync, it causes problems. And so they all have to be in sync to work properly. Even so in marital relationship, that all areas need to work properly in order for it to be I hate to use this term, a well-oiled machine that's working properly. There are 2 types of power that we can think about. One is the power of position, a position that would bring power. I'm sure all of us at one point in time have watched the Ann Griffith Show. And Don Knotts, a very prominent character in that series. And you know Marty. Every once in a while we meet Marty out in this world. That they want to be in charge, whether they're in charge or not. They want to think they're in charge and make you think they're in charge. But when we properly recognize as husbands or as the head our relationship, the power of that position, that we use it properly in order to bring about that working relationship. Then the other type of power I want to talk a little bit about is the power of influence. And this, no doubt, is enjoyed by the wife in a marital relationship. A good wife can have a lot of influence on her husband. The old cliche, behind every good man is a good woman. And I remember, some of you may have been there, but I remember going to an interstate youth meeting one time that met over in Louisiana. And the pastor of the church made the statement. He said, I finally figured out why this church has kept me here so long. He said, because of my wife. And so wives can be a good influence, or they can be a bad influence on their husband. Now, one evil influence that comes to mind is in the Old Testament when we read about Ahab and Jezebel. Jezebel was a very wicked woman. She influenced Ahab to do wrong. He was wicked enough himself without her help, but she even made him worse than he was. And I've seen good men be wrongfully influenced by a bad woman that would push him to do things that he should not do. And you've heard me say this before, I'm sure. In a lot of church situations, we have elbow government. Say, what do you mean? That wife elbows that husband. Make a motion. So the one under authority may have the greater power in the long run, even though the one under authority is not the head, due to the influence that they have. Now, when we recognize headship, we recognize God's due order. That God is the head of Christ. Christ is the head of the church. And that man is to be head of the woman. And that's not a put down on women, it's just God's due order. God made the man first, then he made the woman. And many marriages today are in either total chaos or ending in divorce because one or the other or both the individuals in that marital relationship are not doing what they need to be doing. And that's a sad commentary on our day. So let's remember that God has a plan. Not only in regard to headship, but for every phase of our lives as his people. If we'll follow his due order in our lives, then we can stand before him one day at the judgment seat of Christ and hear him say, "Well done, thou good, thou faithful servant." But we have to recognize the authority, where it comes from, and why we should be in subjection to those in authority over us, beginning with God, trickling all the way down to the church.